to evict someone on the basis of an unscientific masking mandate.
I can't believe they would put somebody my age through this. I'm ready to cry.
What's going to happen if they're successful?
I'll be out in the street. I have no place to go.
I've been with Action for Canada for 2 years, and we're a grassroots organization equipping and empowering and mobilizing Canadians on their constitutional rights and freedoms under the law in Canada. I met Beth at a gathering where I was, had a booth in Whitby, and she had told me her story, and I was just taken back by it. And so I thought, I really got to step up for this lady. This is from Parkview Place, and they put this out, and I just wanted to say here, Public Health Government of Ontario and Parkview Place Board of Directors have made it mandatory that no person is permitted to enter or remain in an enclosed public space of an apartment building unless they are wearing a face covering at all times in a manner that covers the mouth, nose, and chin without gaping.
I'm going through medical problems right now, but I really don't know what the result is until I get my MRIs and everything done. When I get a mask on, I sweat, my face goes red, and I can't breathe properly. They know of my sweating condition because they had to turn the air conditioner when I went down to sign papers one time.
The face covering may be temporarily removed to access services. So maybe to breathe, that would be a good one. Currently permitted under regulation. So they're even quoting in a regulation 26320. Yes, I remember that regulation, where it's reasonable required to do so.
Well, to begin with, I had a plastic mask that fit over my face. The buildings lawyer told me I had to wear the cloth mask. Or the blue mask. There goes my throat again. Yeah. But I had the plastic mask, and it covered my nose, my mouth, and I was comfortable. And they have pictures of me stay with the mask on, but they say they can't see it.
So then they say this here. Oh, this is really good. She would be exempt, it says here, from wearing a non-medical mask or face covering that would inhibit a person's ability to breathe in any way. So they're saying it right here in their policy.
Dystonia.
Tell me about that.
It's an involuntary shaking. And I've had that since 2005 I was diagnosed. And it kind of went into recession until the past 3 years it's come out really bad. And I guess it's a nervous condition. But the vertebrae has wore down. I've lost 40% of the vertebrae behind my throat, and waiting for medical help for that, for an MRI coming up next week.
How has living in this environment affected your nervous system?
I'm ready to cry. Yeah. A lot. I have my little path. I walk down the stairs when I go out to avoid people. I've been accused of taking the stairs so I wouldn't have to confront security at the front. And they're absolutely right. I did that for that reason, because I was always being watched. And the looks you get, mainly from him. Yeah, it hasn't been pleasant the past 3 years.
A person shall be exempt from wearing a non-medical mask or face covering on the premise if, for any other medical reason, the person cannot safely wear a non-medical mask or face covering, such as, but not limited to, respiratory disease, cognitive difficulties, or difficulties in hearing or processing information.
Well, there was times that I would forget my mask. Sometimes it wasn't over my nose. As a rule, I always had it on, but it wasn't always over my nose. But anytime I put anything on over my face, I break out in a sweat. I mean, they all know in here that I have a problem like that. I've asked doctors about it, and they wouldn't do anything about it. They just told me to wear a mask. Everybody has to.
You mentioned sometimes you'd forget, sometimes your mask would fall down. How many times did that happen where somebody came up to you and said, hey, you're breaking the rules, or hey, put on the mask correctly?
Not very often. Maybe a handful.
Handfuls, so
Yeah.
less than 5.
Yeah.
So they're trying to evict you based off of this handful of times.
Yes, exactly.
What I did was I approached the court and I had a stay of order put in place for Beth's case. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I just reached out to the court clerk and asked her questions and just filed it. I did serve this to Roxanne Clark and recorded it, that I did serve it to her in the building. And I let her know that she personally was going to be held, personally liable, that this was something that she was not a medical officer and she didn't have the right to tell Beth what to do, whether she had to wear a mask. And actually, it's been noted that the masks even say it on the retail boxes of these blue masks, that there's a disclaimer directly on the box that states masks do not stop viral transmission. So also under the criminal codes 346, it was actually an act of extortion, and under Criminal Code 423, it's an intimidation charge under the Criminal Code of Canada. So the public health had also put out on various websites that anybody that could not wear a mask for whatever reasons, health, religion, whatnot, they were not to be questioned and they were to be respected for their choice. Okay, that's something that they didn't do here at all.
In the time that you've lived in this building, how long has this person been the building manager?
12 years.
Okay.
She's 1 year more than me.
Okay. And have you ever had a run-in with her during your time in the building, 11 years?
Just at the start of COVID there, when my nephew came in, and he went to the desk to sign in. He had his mask on, but he got into an argument with security because the security was forcing the probe when the temperature gauge, he was ramming it at people's foreheads. And my nephew was right against that. And he went to grab his arm and a big fight ensued. There was no physical fight, but a lot of words said. Then she called me upstairs the same when this was going on and told me to give his name. Was he related to me? And I said, he already signed the paper down there. And she said, you either give me his name or you're evicted.
Wow. So this all really started with that one event during COVID. And since then,
I've been followed. I've been harassed.
do you feel like you've been targeted?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I know I have.
What's going to happen if they're successful?
I'll be out in the street. I have no place to go. I mean, everybody knows it's going to cost anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 a month for rent. I don't have that kind of money. I'm on an old age pension. Have been for the last, 18 years? 15 or what? I don't know. I get so confused sometimes I can't even think straight. I'll be 78 in October.
It's understandable.
Yeah. It's been hard. Really hard.
The security guard in the building was behind a plexiglass without a mask on. Okay? But yet Beth was not allowed to wear the plastic visor that would have enabled her to definitely breathe freely and not have a problem, but they said no to her. So I feel that she was very much targeted. And we also had a picture of this Roxanne Clark, who's the management, walking around the building with the mask below her nose. And that's what they were accusing Beth of.
Have you spoken to anybody else in the building about what's going on with you?
They can't believe what's going on.
Has anybody offered to offer you some support?
No. Everybody's afraid of her. Roxanne has got everyone afraid. I know they all disagree with it. They, like, why are they putting you out in the street when somebody else is going to come in here and not pay the rent or cause problems? You're a very likable person. Everybody gets along with you. They don't understand it. Not everybody in here that was there for the length of time I've been here, then none of them can understand it. But see, nobody has offered any help. I've had one woman come up to me and she told me, watch your back.
We have the ladies.
They want somebody wants your apartment, and that's all I can tell you, just watch your back.
Somebody wants your apartment.
Yeah. And then I got on the elevator one day, and this woman in there and said, oh, I guess all the rumors are false. I see you're still here. Different little slams like that.
Well, yeah, this is a nice apartment. I can see why somebody would want this.
Yeah.
You're looking over some trees here. You got a nice view on the balcony, top floor, right? This is prime real estate right here.
Yes, it is. Yeah. But it's all, as far as I'm concerned, government run. I'm on old age pension, so I'm geared to income. I'm sure somebody else would love this apartment. I put a lot of work in this place.
What did you do before you retired?
I worked at Horn Plastic. I worked different places, mostly factory work. Yeah.
Any kind of correspondence that was going on between any of the parties, everybody was supposed to be copied on it, everyone. So they did this behind the court's back. This is to Beth. As you know, we're representing Parkview Place in respect to your appeal before divisional court. I have been instructed to write to you to propose a potential resolution. I want to start by advising you that if your appeal proceeds, Parkview Place intends to oppose it and seek costs on doing so. Further, I want to set out my opinion that your appeal is unlikely to proceed. So how does he know this or succeed? I appreciate that you think that because I'm counsel for Parkview Place that I am taking a biased view of matters. However, looking at the notice of appeal as impartially as possible, I do not see how you can succeed on this appeal. So he's talking about your references to the criminal code and the charter do not appear to have been raised at your landlord-tenant board. So it's unlikely that you'll be able to raise them at the appeal. Well, of course not, because she had no representation. She was scared to death. You know what I mean? Like, she had no representation.
I called legal aid, and I had a woman over there that was really interested in the case. This is when it all started with my nephew Derek and security. And when it come down to going to court, she had furthered her career and it left me with no representation. So I went on my phone the next day for the court hearing, and I sat there for 8 hours waiting for duty counsel, and they told me there wasn't any. And whoever come on, I went to say something and he said these are yes and no questions. So I didn't have a chance to say anything.
They just abandoned her. That's what they did to her. So they just threw her under the bus. And I mean, the guy at legal aid, he told her that he wanted her to sign the eviction notice. And because she said no, he said, well, then I'm not representing you. I mean, how terrible is this to do something like that? So anyways, he's talking about the criminal code and the charter. And what he's referring to is the notice of liability that is Action for Canada, and he's trying to tell us, or tell Beth, that doesn't constitute because this Parkview Place is not a government facility. That's a private place. Well, how can that be if they have a geared to income? So, I mean, that's through the government assisted program, right? So I know that for a fact. So anyways, this is what Michael Hackle, the lawyer, has proposed for Beth. Just terrible. He says to her, with all that in mind, I have been instructed again to present you with the following offer. Number one, you will withdraw your appeal at Parkview Place, and Parkview Place will consent to you withdrawing the appeal on a without cost basis. So you will not have to pay Parkview Place any costs. Oh, isn't that so nice of them? And two, Parkview Place will agree not to enforce the eviction order until March 31st of 2023. So they're going to give you some time to get out because they have someone they want to put in here, obviously, right? I mean, why else would they barter this? While this could be accomplished by a simple agreement between you and Parkview Place would be prepared to consent to the court ordering that the certificate of stay, which is what I just showed you back here that I had, that certificate of stay would be extended until March of 2023. If the court will make that order. So they're going to barter with the courts as well, right? I mean, what does that tell you? So if this approach is agreeable to you, please let me know and we can ask the court to set another case conference to present the agreement to the court and see if it will make an order to keep the certificate of stay in place until March of 2023. If we have not heard back from you by the end of December 2023, this offer will be withdrawn and Parkview Place will take all appropriate steps to protect its interests. I look forward to hearing from you. This is the court transcript when Beth was in court. So Beth had expressed to them, a lot of times I do have trouble breathing in the mask, but I try to keep it up. And sometimes I forget, I'm getting old. So she did tell them this in her original case. They did ask her, oh, so you'd like to stay in your apartment? And she's saying, yes, I would. And so they were saying, okay, are you prepared to, going forward, follow all the rules of the building and keep that mask on? Even though she's telling them that she has a problem breathing in it. They're saying, well, you didn't seek accommodation. She tried to. She did go to her doctor. He told her no. So now where it's at right now is this case has gone to mediation. And that's not what we were under the understanding of. And this is a paralegal that's representing her. And now they're also asking her for additional money. They've just sent her another invoice for $1,200 because she sent it to me. And I'm like, they haven't done anything. All they did was upload the transcript from her original case conference. And that's it. And now they want her to go back in September. And they've already indicated, the mediator already indicated that this will not go to court. I'm going to make the decision, and I'm almost there already. So, I mean, this cannot happen. This is terrible.
I get along fine with everybody. I don't have a problem with anybody, and they don't have a problem with me. It's just management has made a decision, and they're going to follow through. If I'm evicted from my apartment, I'm off housing, and I can't afford $2,000 and $3,000.
Not many people can.
No. That's more than what I get on old age pension.